Hello and welcome. My name is Amanda and this is my channel, Her Pacific Northwest Washington Life, and today we are kicking off the week 43 reading vlog. This first clip is going to be a little bit long because last week in my vlog I mentioned that I was reworking my Fall Into Reading Challenge, the books that I had read, and was going to give you an update and then never did. And also another week-long readathon starts today that I want to share details with you about. So the Fall Into Reading Challenge, for anyone who doesn't know, is a 3-month-long reading challenge. It started September 1st and it goes through to November 30th. And at the beginning of the challenge, I had set out for all the prompts, I had picked a book that I wanted to read for each prompt. So there's a board. You can either pick a 15 prompt board or a 24 prompt board, and I picked the 24 prompt because I can read about 10 to 12 books a month is usually what I read. And if I pick the 24 prompt board, that would essentially be 8 books a month or 8 prompts a month to read. So I was, during September and kind of the beginning of October, I had picked up some books that I didn't plan to read for the Fall Into Reading Challenge, but that worked for some of the prompts. And I figured at the end of last week that I would kind of rework my challenges and fit in the books that I had already read. That way I didn't have to stress about whether I was going to get to those books or not. And then at the end of this, or like kind of throughout, I guess, I could pick up the books that I had originally planned to read when I was ready for them. So as an update, I have read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 of the prompts so far. So that means there's 8 left, and I've got month and a half left to do this, so I can definitely do this for sure. So I'm going to go through really quickly and tell you what prompts I have read and the books I read, or the book I read for those prompts, and then I'll go through and tell you what prompts I have left. And I won't tell you what books I'm planning to read because during the vlog when I show you the books that I'm reading, I usually tell you what prompt they're for. So we're going to skip that portion and try and go through this really quickly. So for young adult, I read Stalking Jack the Ripper by Kerri Maniscalco. For fantasy, I read The Sky Weaver by Kristen Ciccarelli. For mystery, I read The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. For colored author, I read The Color Purple by Alice Walker. For supernatural, I read Strange Practice by Vivian Shaw. Historical fiction was The Beekeeper's Promise by Fiona Shaw. Happens in the Fall was Blood of Victory by Alan Furst. Published before 2020 was The Battle of the Labyrinth by Rick Riordan. Sci-Fi was Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. Standalone was The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. Diverse Characters was The Strong Man and the Mermaid by Kathleen Shoup. Published in 2020 was Just Breathe by Carrie McCannis. I don't know her last name. Contemporary is The Cider House Rules by John Irving. Leaves on the Cover was Becoming Mrs. Lewis by Patty Callahan. Romance was Well Met by Jen DeLuca. And sequel was The Last Olympian by Rick Riordan. So the 8 prompts I have left are to read a book with orange, yellow, or gold on the cover, to read a book by a beloved author, to read a graphic novel. I don't personally own any graphic novels, so I will be reading a manga for this. Next prompt is a nonfiction, which I am currently reading, the Curly Girl Handbook, because I'm trying to figure out what to do with this mess and how to care for it. I don't know, like a third of the way through it. Then we come to classic, which is Frankenstein, which I'm also currently reading by Mary Shelley. I am that far of the way through, so not very far, but I'll definitely be able to finish that this week. Then the next prompt is a thriller or horror, a middle grade, and then a new to you author. So those are the last prompts. I'll definitely be able to finish this, no problem. I've got books slated for them, but we'll kind of see what I want to pick up as we go. And then for the other readathon that I'm doing this week. It starts today, ends on Sunday. It's the Read in Peace, or the RIP readathon, that is created by Paige over at the channel Paige Nicole. She is the shop owner of the Creating & Co. Planner Sticker Shop. She does a lot of bookish things, and she also runs 2 Facebook groups that I'm a part of. One's the Creating & Co. community, which centers around the stickers and things like that that people use in their planners. But the main one that I'm active in is the, it's been renamed to the Media and Books Club, so that we can talk about like TV shows and movies as well as books that we're reading. So she does a readathon bi-monthly, and October is, I think the RIP readathon was the very first readathon that she did a couple years ago. I found Paige the spring just after her first readathon, so I've participated in every single one of her readathons except for that first RIP readathon because I didn't know about it at the time. But this one just follows the same basic structure. It's a week long. We've got 5 reading prompts, and there are 3 photo prompts as well. In the book club on Facebook, we vote for a group read for each of the readathons. So that's one of the reading prompts. There were 2 group reads because the poll was really close. So we've got the Southern Book Club's Guide for Slaying Vampires by, I think it's Grady Hendrix, and then Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. I'm not going to read all of those because I've said multiple times, if you're not new, you've heard me say this. If you are new, my big goal always, but especially for this year, is to get my to be read lists down. So my physical TBR, my Audible TBR, and my Kindle TBR. So because I don't own either of these books, I'm not going to pick them up just because I want to focus on the books I already own. So the next prompt is matches the kit, and for that I'll put a picture up to show you what the kit looks like. But I am going to read Frankenstein by Mary Shelley for that because in the kit there's like silhouettes of trees, and they look like this, and it's also kind of like a purpley color to it, and it's black and gray and stuff, so I think it matches the kit fairly well. The next prompt is Paranormal Vibes, and for that I am planning to read The Diviners by Libba Bray, which I think will be pretty good. I think some people say this is spooky, so hopefully it's not too spooky. I'm planning to listen to it on audiobook, so I'm going to have to figure out if my library has it, or if Scribd has it, or if I need to get it through Audible. But I'm definitely planning to listen to this because I'm pretty sure I've heard people say the audiobook narration is really good. So there's that. And then Creature Feature. I am either going to use Frankenstein for Creature Feature, or I'm going to use Vampire Night by Matsuri Hino for Creature Feature because it does have vampires in it, which this is just a manga. I can usually get through this in one night, so that'll be quick. And then the last prompt is a guilty pleasure read, and for that I am going to read The Witches by Roald Dahl, just because Roald Dahl is one of my favorite children's authors, and I've never read this one before, so I thought it would be really fun to read. I can leave a link, even though the readathon will be done by the time this vlog goes up, I can leave a link to the blog post down in the description box below so you can read more about them, maybe consider joining us for the next one. I always have the link to join the book club group in my description box below, so if you want to join, go ahead and join that. It's a lot of fun. I think it is, at least. It's basically one of the only reasons why I still keep Facebook around. But that's pretty much it for my reading plans this week. I am enjoying Frankenstein quite a bit. I'm listening to it through my library, and I'm trying to listen to it at a slower speed than I would normally listen to audiobooks, just because I feel like classics can be, I really like listening to classics, but I also tend to, my mind wanders as I listen to them just because the language isn't what I'm used to hearing. But this is going well so far. It's not spooky yet. We're introduced to Dr. Frankenstein, and I think he's just now starting his experiments, so I'm not sure at one point we'll meet the monster, but it should be here soon, hopefully, because it is a rather short book. But I'm really excited to have that one under my belt. I think last year I listened to Dracula and I didn't get to Frankenstein, so I'm glad to finally be able to get to it this year. And then I don't really know what to say about the Curly Girl Handbook. I haven't talked about it other than mentioning it in my last vlog. It's just a handbook for a method to help your curls. So if you're interested, I know you can get this on Amazon. That's where I bought mine. And there's, I guess, some good tips in it. We'll see. So that's it for my reading. Other than that, big plans for the week are to finish up my scarecrows that I basically just need to set them outside now and paint faces on them and stick some of the straw out of like sleeves and pant legs and the neck holes and stuff like that, and those will be done so I can show you that. I also need to put up a spider web and a giant spider, and that'll be my porch pretty much decorated for Halloween. So hopefully I'll get that done. I better get that done this week so that I can at least have it up for 2 weeks. But yeah, that's pretty much the only plan. I don't think we've got anything else planned. I am going to be starting my business law for accounting class today, and I also need to get to playing my violin today. So that's really what my big plans are. When I figure out what physical book I'm reading, I will definitely check in with you. It's either going to be Vampire Knight or The Witches. Maybe Vampire Knight because I'll be able to finish it tonight, and then I can do The Witches, and then maybe I'll be able to listen and read along to The Diviners during the evening. I think that would be a lot of fun. So that's going to be it for now, but when I do have another update, I will check in with you. All right, I wanted to share a quick little reading update in a different spot because I know a lot of my check-ins are filmed sitting at my desk, but that's just because I've got my book sitting there, I've got my camera sitting there. It's where I am most of the time, so it's usually a spot that works out for me. But in an effort to try and change things up a little, I am out in my kitchen. You're sitting on my kitchen table right now. My books are on the wall, right kind of to your side. And we've got my piano that I got for free. I don't know how to play it. It needs to be tuned, and all the decorations and stuff. These books are all decorations for our wedding whenever we're allowed to have it. But anyway, that's not what this update is about. This update is to tell you that I finished Vampire Knight Volume 7 by Matsuri Hino last night. I started it and finished it all within probably about an hour, and it went really well. I really liked the kind of character dynamic in this one and the way that some of the characters grew and the things that we learned about some of the characters and introduction into a new-ish character. And just kind of the events that happened in this one, it seems like things are going in an interesting direction that I am looking forward to seeing a little bit more about and figuring out where it's going. I believe there's 19 volumes in this series, and I don't know if that's all there's going to be, but if there is, then I've got 12 more volumes to go, and then I'm done with this. And for the reading challenges and readathons, for the Read in Peace readathon, this is a creature feature because it's got vampires. And then for the Fall Into Reading challenge, it is my graphic novel pick, but since I don't own any graphic novels, I figured a graphic novel, manga, or comic would fit well into that category. So since it's a manga, there it is. And then I read the first chapter of Roald Dahl. Not of Roald Dahl, of The Witches by Roald Dahl. This is a book that I've never read before, so I'm using this for my guilty pleasure read because Roald Dahl to me is a favorite childhood author. Even though the only book of his that I read when I was a kid was the BFG, I just have such fond memories of that book that I'm going to count this towards guilty pleasure. I've also read James and the Giant Peach and Matilda but I saw the movie for both of those before I ever read the book, and I enjoyed both of those a lot. So I think it'll be really fun to go into a Roald Dahl book that I don't know the story of at all. And I think at some point I've read the synopsis of this, but I don't really want to read it now. I just kind of want to go into it and experience this story for the first time in print. Other than that, I am still reading Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I've got, I think, just under 7 hours to go. And because I've got my violin lesson today and it doesn't look like power's going out, doesn't look like my lesson's going to be canceled, I will have about 2 hours of reading time for that. So we'll get another good chunk of it. And I'm interested to see where it goes since, again, this is the first time I'm hearing the story as it was actually written. And I am still reading my Curly Girl handbook, which there's a portion in the back that's dedicated to like kids with curly hair and men with curly hair that I don't really need to read, though I might read the men section to see if I can convince Skylar to do something with his hair so it looks a little less dry and damaged, but we'll see how that goes. So that's pretty much it for my reading right now. I got a brand new book and a book that I'm in the middle of, so I guess as I get further into those and once I know more of what they're about or can kind of chat with you about plots and characters and worlds and things like that, I can definitely keep you posted. But for right now, I guess I don't really have much more left. I've got a couple hours left of work, and Aoife likes to show off by jumping over the back of the couch. I've got a couple hours left of work and then I'm gonna leave for my lesson. So tonight's just gonna be kind of a hangout night when I get home. I won't be studying, I won't be doing work for my second job. We'll probably just watch some more X-Files as per usual and hang out and enjoy each other's company. I'm so sorry. So I will probably not check in with you again until I've got an actual like substantial reading update. I think The Witches, I could read this in a night if I wanted to, but I think this will probably take me at least 2 days to finish. I just really only read about like 30 to 50 pages a night, and it doesn't matter that the font's big and there's pictures or anything like that. It just, that seems to be how much I get to. So we'll see how long that takes me. I'm not too worried about it. Just want to kind of enjoy it as I read it. So I'm gonna stop blathering now, and when I have an actual update, I will definitely check in with you.
Where's he going, Boone? Is he going to the kitchen?
I had a lot of time yesterday and today to listen to my audiobook while I was working, so I just finished Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I'm giving this a 4-star rating. I am really glad the way that I decided to listen to this classic, because a lot of classics, they're not written with the language that we use today, so it can be very wordy, especially because a lot of like Victorian classics, they were paid per word, so a lot of description, a lot of words that aren't necessarily necessary go into these books. But this being a very short book, it didn't really have all of that extra fluffiness. And it was just a very easy classic to read and understand and pay attention to. So I really enjoyed my reading experience with this. I really enjoyed too that the story starts out with letters, and there's a character named Walton who is writing to his sister, and he is currently stuck on a boat that's up somewhere in the north, that's stuck between ice. And I can't remember now if Frankenstein was found on the ice or if he like intentionally hired the ship to take him up north. But basically, the story is told as a story, as we're listening to a story. So the story starts out in letters, and then the point of view switches to Frankenstein telling his story to Walton. So we're also, as the reader, getting to listen to the story as it's being told to someone else. And it does end out in letters too, which I thought was really interesting. It did confuse me a little bit, the perspective that was being taken. And at one point, I was convinced that this was kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde story, in that we had somebody with kind of like a split personality thing happening. But I realized that where I had stopped listening on Tuesday at my lesson was when the book was switching perspective again. So Frankenstein had run into the monster, and the monster had said, "I want you to hear my story." And at that point, we were hearing the story told from the monster's point of view. And at some point, I was like, "Wait a second! Like, is Frankenstein saying that he's the monster?" And then I went back and like actually skimmed a couple chapters and remembered where I was. So I got lost a couple times, but we got back on track and it was totally fine. I really, really do not like the character of Victor Frankenstein. I think he's an absolute coward. And I feel like in a lot of adaptations, with the Frankenstein monster, you do feel a lot of sympathy towards the monster, and that was definitely the case while reading this as well. You've got Frankenstein, who his greatest ambition is in life is going to be to create this being that he can make come alive, and he struggles with that throughout the entire story of kind of how right that is, and the creature that he created from that, and how he holds all of this guilt, and he's scared of the beast that he created and what it can do and things like that. But at the same time, he has the ability to either, there's things that happen to the people in his life because of the choices he makes, and he has the ability to get rid of the monster or do what the monster requests, and he chooses the path of cowardice and kind of like brushing things under the rug and waiting it out and seeing if the monster is going to basically do what he says he's going to do. And he does. And so a lot of people are hurt because of Victor's choices and things like that and decisions that he makes, and it's really frustrating. He's just not a very good person. You don't like him, and you definitely side with the monster throughout this book, which I think is just really interesting. I kind of like having that morally gray character that we follow, who they think they're in the right, and as you hear the story being told from their point of view, you just know what kind of a person they are and everything like that. So I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a great book. This works for classic, for fall into reading. So I've got another square marked off there, and it also is, I forgot to mark it off into the RAP readathon, but this matches the kit. So I've got 2 prompts now done for the RAP readathon. I've got matches the kit and creature feature, and then I'm working on Guilty Pleasure still, which is The Witches by Roald Dahl, which I haven't picked up since Tuesday. Not because I don't want to, but because I basically want to like finish it all in one go. Sorry for that break. You probably don't want to hear my dogs barking, so hopefully I got most of that cut out. But I basically just want to like marathon read it, and instead of reading little chunks here and there and getting myself closer to the end, I'm just not reading. So I'm liking it so far. I think it's really cute. It's told from the perspective of a little boy, I think he's 7, who loses his parents in an accident and goes to live with his grandma in Norway. And she tells him stories about witches and what he as a child needs to look out for in order to stay safe. So I think it's really cute. Sorry about that. And just perfect for this time of the year. So it is Friday. It's a Maddie weekend. I'm gonna need another audiobook to listen to while I'm doing chores, and I'm debating between listening to Sleepy Hollow and Shutter Island. Sleepy Hollow is going to be really fast. It's only like an hour and a half. But should I wait until next week when it's Halloween week? That's my debate. I think I will, and I'll start Shutter Island this today, which is going to be my thriller or horror. Yeah, I think that's going to be my option because Sleepy Hollow doesn't count for anything, so I'd like to get Shutter Island read during this month and have that out of the way. Yeah, so I also got a Geek Gear box, another one of the limited edition boxes. This one is Toil and Trouble, and I'm going to open it, but I think I'll do that here in a little bit because I'm not quite ready for it. And I'll try and cut out all of the like unwrapping noises for you all, but I kind of want to also do it in real time so that way you can see my reactions to the products. Hopefully it's good because I think you all know how I feel about a lot of the boxes and items we've been getting from Geek Gear recently. I told you that I canceled my subscription because I was tired of getting plastic stuff that I didn't feel like was worth my money. So we're going to do that here in a little bit. All right, unboxing time. So this is what the outside looks like. I think it's a lot of fun. You got pumpkins and a cauldron and some fun swirly things. I think they're trees. And then on the side it kind of alternates between pumpkins and moons and Skelegro. So this thing is also really heavy. I'm thinking there's probably got to be at least one potion bottle in here because it is Toil and Trouble, which I don't know, to me kind of makes me think of potions, especially with the cauldron on the front. But ooh, okay, first thing on top is the shirt. I get these in the unisex medium because I was getting a women's large, but I didn't feel like the shoulder width was big enough for me. So I just get a unisex medium. So it is a bit long on me, but I like the fit overall. It's a really comfortable, lightweight t-shirt. I wear these pretty much all the time, but this one is just a Skelegro bottle, which says bone regenerator, 110 drops, 1,100 drops. Bonafide results every time, and it says sold by Rubens, Winnicus, and Company Inc. So if you don't like big images on shirts, the Geek Gear shirts probably aren't for you because they are usually quite large images. I really like them. I don't care that people associate it with Harry Potter. That's just my personal preference though. The worms this time are purple and orange, which I think is so much fun. Gonna try and keep those contained. But the first thing I'm gonna pull out, I think, is a set of coasters. It looks like it's the carriage with the Thestrals pulling it. So I'm gonna open this really quickly and show you what they look like. Alright, so it looks like we've got a set of 4 coasters with a cork backing. And they're all different. Okay, so this one is the carriage with the Thestral. This one is a Dementor and the Hogwarts silhouette in the back. This one is Buckbeak in the pumpkin patch outside of Hagrid's hut. Looks like these are all from Prisoner of Azkaban. And then, these ones are a little stuck together. And then this one, I guess, doesn't match that theme. But this one is Scaligro in the forefront, and then some other potions. In the back you've got like Gillyweed and Felix Felicis and some other things. So those are really cool. I have coasters that have bears on them. Bear is my family's nickname for me, and so my dad, for a couple years, like every birthday, every Christmas, anytime he saw something with a bear on it, he would get it for me. So they're like bears and they're fishing. But I think for like the next 2 weeks I might swap them out for these, and then I'll keep them in mind for Halloween coasters, because I think that would be a lot of fun. Next item that I just want to see because I can see it on the top here is a pin, which I really like this pin. I also really don't like this pin. I'm going to pull it out really quickly so that there's no glare on it. By no glare on it, I meant on the plastic that's wrapping it. But the reason I don't like this pin is because I don't like spiders, but I think the pin itself is really awesome. And the bottom just says "Follow the Spiders," which is obviously from Chamber of Secrets. I also really like the backing card. Like, I like how you've got a foiled moon there, and on the back it's just kind of plain. This is a massive pin, but I really like the kind of like opally, marbly look of the purple there. So I think that's a lot of fun. So far we're 2 for 2, which is really exciting. Alright, next item. I think I'm going to save this massive box. Oh, yep. Saving that massive box. I think it's pumpkin juice for last. So we'll go here. This looks like just a pair of socks. They're tall, like calf length, probably up to the knee, maybe not that high, but they've got the dark mark on it. I always love a good pair of socks. I personally just wish they weren't white because white gets dirty, but I wear slippers all the time too, so that'll kind of protect it. And then we've got this, it's kind of in a Honeydukes colorway, and it says Pumpkin Pasties on it, which I don't think is a real pumpkin pasty. Oh, I like that. Okay, it's kind of one of those plasticky things that I said I don't like, but it's a little, one of those, whatever those signboards are, it feels like it's made really well, and it just says pumpkin pasties on both sides. So I think that's kind of cool to set up, prop up, all that fun stuff, and it'll stay up on its own, and it looks, I bet if you didn't like that, you could possibly slide this out and put something else in there, but I like it, so I'll keep that as is. Let's see. Looks like we've got a pillowcase, maybe. Let me open this from the plastic. Maybe it's a tote instead. It's not a pillowcase. And this one's got different potions on it, a cauldron. What does it say? Bewitch the mind, ensnare the senses, which is a quote from, it'd be 4th year that they start. 3rd year? It's the year when they have the hair. But that's 4th year, right? That they start divination? No, it's 3rd year because the Grimm. So that's another thing from Prisoner of Azkaban. Then it looks like we have another notebook, which in the last one we got a notebook, but this one says Wanderings with Werewolves by Gilderoy Lockhart, so that would be kind of like, sorry if that was a glare, like the book cover. And on the back it says, it gives like the synopsis of the book and how much it costs at Flourish and Blotts. But it is just a lined notebook. It's not college rule, it's wide rule, which is perfect. And it also has a ribbon bookmark in it, if I can find it. I mean, I can see it. There it is. So if you like that. Notebooks are always super helpful. Have no idea what I'll use this one for. I do prefer a college rule or like a dot grid notebook, but this will be fun for something, or even just to have as decoration on the bookshelves. I think other things are posters, so we'll get to the other item, which it says cocktail from concentrate, and makes me think that it's going to be a pumpkin juice replica. It says display only on the back. Alright. Okay, that might be the pumpkin that goes on the top. But we do have that is plastic. Plastic pumpkin juice bottle. The stickers are a little rough. They're a little wrinkled, but I guess it's okay. And it just says pumpkin juice everywhere on it. And then in this little box that was in the top of that box, it is a pumpkin cap. It just looks like this. You got that so that it can sit right on. It doesn't screw on or anything, so you'd have to be very careful not to pick it up by that. But yeah, that's a nice little display piece. I mean, I would prefer if it was like a glass bottle or something like that, and not a giant chunk of plastic, but that's not too bad. And I do wish that the stickers were on straight, because otherwise it just kind of looks lazy, and it makes the quality look a lot cheaper. Alright, last things in the box. I kind of have to dig here a little bit. We've got a couple pieces of paper. Maybe just 2 pieces of paper. And I think that's it. So first is an art print, which is on a rather flimsy piece of paper. This isn't the typical paper. They usually do pick a heavier weight cardstock, but it is Nearly Headless Nick, which I think is kind of cool. It's definitely the movie Nearly Headless Nick for sure. And the artwork is A.C. Blake? Maybe. There's a spoiler, so I'll be able to, a card here, so I'll be able to tell you what it's from. But I think that's kind of nice. It's not really my favorite sort of thing, but it fits the theme very well. So let's just, ooh, I do really like how this is printed. I'll probably save this for like scrapbooking or something. And there's the front there. So it says, "Hello Pumpkins, massive thank you from the team. Carefully designed this spectacular box to bring magic straight to your door, inspired by pumpkin skeletons, creepy crawlies, and more." So the Toil and Trouble limited edition box has the Skelegro advertisement t-shirt. Advertisement. Number 2 is the Ghost Portrait by Tony Blake. He does a lot of the artwork. You can find him on Facebook at Aunt Blake Art, and on Instagram at Tony Blake Art. The Wanderings and Werewolves notebook sold for the mere sum of 5 galleons. It's a required text for any prestigious wizarding school. Then you've got a set of 4 spooky coasters, villainous socks, the pumpkin juice bottle replica, a mini pumpkin pasties menu board, and Follow the Spiders pin. Doesn't say who did that. And then the potions tote bag, which also doesn't say who did that. So that is everything. Overall, I think I pretty much like everything except for the art print, just because it's not my style. And I like this pumpkin. I don't like the bottle. But other than that, this was definitely a very successful box. I was a bit worried. I was a bit hesitant when ordering this that it was going to be another disappointment, but I think they really knocked this one out of the park compared to the past two limited edition boxes. So I hope it gets better. I think they've already got the next limited edition box up, which is about house elves. So I'm going to leave my, I think it's like a referral link or something down in the description box below. You can use it if you want to sign up for Geek Gear, if you're still supporting independent businesses who sell Harry Potter themed items. And I think you get like a percentage off or something if you use that. But yeah, I do really like this box, and I'm excited to see what else they come out with.
Nice, dude. You're getting the hang of it, huh?
Alright, I am going to go ahead and wrap up this vlog now. This weekend has been super busy. It's been beautiful, gorgeous, sunny days, but super, super, super cold and crisp. I was just outside putting up my spider webs and finishing the decorations on the porch, as you will have seen in the previous footage, and my nose is red and cold and my fingers are as well. So it's been pretty chilly, but it's been a great weekend. We went to my brother's yesterday and started working on gun safety and target practice with Matty Boy, and he absolutely loved being able to shoot BBs. He was really proud of himself with the progress he was making. It was the first time he's ever gotten to hold any type of firearm, so we're starting with the BB guns for him, and he's just been doing really great, really good at listening to what we tell him and how he needs to handle them and things like that. So it's been really cool to watch that. We also went to Costco for lunch and just kind of spent the afternoon with my parents and things like that. And then yesterday we were talking with my parents about the houses on the road we live on, how all of these houses are manufactured homes, and one a couple doors down from my parents is a 4-bedroom, like 2,000-ish square feet, maybe a little more than that, that just sold for $390,000, and my neighbors across the street from me are listing their house for $350,000. So we were talking just about like both of our houses and what we could potentially get for them, and it kind of went on a path of if we both sold our houses and combined the money and went in on a house together, we could get something that could suit all of us. So we are kind of slowly gonna start looking. Something ideal would be like a maybe kind of like a split level or something with a daylight basement that has maybe like a small kitchen, living room space, maybe a bedroom or two, lots of storage and stuff that my parents could live in with kind of like a separate entrance, and then an upstairs space with a couple more bedrooms, like a full kitchen, living room, those sorts of things that Sky and I could live in. And then just having a bit more property, potentially building a shop with an apartment over top of it, so that way when Sky's parents come to visit, they have somewhere to stay. If they want to stay for like a whole month, they can, because his dad's allergic to dogs, and we've got 2 dogs, and we'll never not have dogs, so they can't really stay in our house with us. But yeah, so that kind of sparked a potential house hunt. We went today to look at one that's vacant and just kind of look in the windows. And it was a nice house. It's been remodeled and stuff, but there's quite a bit of work that would need to be done. None of us were really super keen on it. So knowing that like wintertime, especially around Christmas, is really slow for houses to go up on the market, we're obviously not in a position where we have to move. It's just a kind of nice, we could do this sort of thing. And eventually, I mean, this is kind of where we were going to go eventually if we got my parents on board, because they're a little older. I mean, they've still got some good years left in them, but I always have wanted, when my parents get older, to be able to take care of them. So it kind of helps if we're already living in the same place. For when they start to decline a little bit, they'll already be on the property with us. So that'll be really nice, I think. And Matty Boy loves having them as neighbors, so I think he would really enjoy being able to live with them. He also asked for a dirt bike for Christmas, so it'd be nice if we had a bit of extra space that he could actually ride the dirt bike, if he gets one, on the property and such. So that's kind of how today went. So not a lot of reading has been done. I haven't been getting very far in The Witches. I'm on page 80 right now, and I think there's 208 or 202 pages, 208 pages. So I could finish this tonight if I really buckle down and just read it, which I probably will do. I think I will, at least, just to have this done. And then I am still listening to Shutter Island by Dennis Lehane, and this is where my bookmark is, but I think I'm a little further in. I listened to it a little bit yesterday morning and didn't move my bookmark. So I'm kind of at that stage where, because I've seen the movie and this is my first time reading the book, I'm trying to remember what happened in the movie and piece things together before it happens in this. But there's not a lot that I remember from the movie. I know I watched it, I think I watched it at the drive-ins. I probably fell asleep because I can't stay awake. But yeah, I know a little bit about what this is about, but I think it's really interesting to watch it unfold. They keep talking about the war, and I wasn't sure what war they were talking about, but I'm pretty sure it's World War II. And how one of the marshals has a girlfriend who I believe is Japanese descent, even though her parents and her grandparents, I believe, were born in America. And I know along the West Coast, especially after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, there was a lot of prejudice towards people of Japanese heritage. And it talks about how one of the guy's girlfriends is, I don't remember if she went to like a camp or anything like that. I don't remember especially like 100% what it was, but I know kind of the timeline. But it also says at the beginning, it says 1993. Oh, from the journals of in May of 1933. Okay. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how this unfolds as a book. And then kind of go back and watch the movie and see how that goes as well. Right now, the two marshals, All and Daniels, are on on the island, on Shutter Island, and they know that Rachel has disappeared. They know a bit of her backstory, and right now they are starting to kind of interview the other patients. They're not called patients. The other people who are there, who were in the same kind of like meeting with her the night before she escaped, and kind of just interviewing and seeing how their stories check out against what the doctors and the orderlies and stuff are saying on the island. And there's a hurricane that's coming in, and so basically the marshals were going to give up on this case because they knew they were being lied to, and they didn't think they were going to get very far with the investigation, but they can't leave yet because there's no boat to get them off the island, and so they're kind of stuck there and still continuing to figure things out. So that's where I am right now. Nothing like spooky or weird has really happened yet, but if I remember correctly, it's coming soon. So I should only have this book carry over into next week, which is my audiobook, and I should be able to finish it rather quickly. And then I guess next week will be a fresh week. It's the last week of October. Halloween also happens. So more spooky books to read during that time. Definitely want to pick up The Halloween Tree by Ray Bradbury, and listen to Sleepy Hollow, and maybe another book in there. I don't know exactly which one. So that'll be next week that we decide and figure out what I'll be reading for the rest of the week. So, as always, I would just love to know how your week went, what you got up to, if you had some lovely fall weather that you got to enjoy before, I don't know, snow or rain sets in. We're definitely going to be hitting our rainy season here really soon, so it's nice to have these sunshiny days to soak in the last little bits of vitamin D before the weather changes. Yeah, and just got lots of really good family time. So not a lot of reading was done, but definitely worth it for the family time. So I would just love to know what you got up to this week and weekend. And if you feel so inclined, please do let me know down in the comments below, and I will chat with you there until my next video. Bye.